No one took the gift seriously, not even the one who received it. Private First Class Darren Cole, a maintenance engineer aboard the Earth-Icarian peacekeeping vessel Unity's Edge, had never been a frontline soldier or a diplomat. His job was tightening bolts, patching coolant leaks, and making sure the reactors didn't melt the ship into glowing scrap. So when he received a ceremonial tribute from the newly allied alien race known as the Chalari, he assumed it was a joke. "Congratulations," his bunkmate Wex had said with a smirk, handing him a sealed containment pod. "Apparently, you're now married." Inside was a Chalari female. She stood nearly 6.5 feet tall, covered in smooth pale blue skin with patterns of darker indigo along her shoulders and arms. Her eyes were wide and luminous, her expression calm if unreadable. She wore ceremonial garb, barely more than robes held together with ornate clasps, and a shimmering collar engraved with strange sigils. "Her name is Varela," Wex continued. "The Chalari High Council said it's a gesture of union between warrior clans. Guess you're a clan now." "They gave me a person," Darren had gasped. Wex shrugged. "Chalari aren't exactly familiar with human ethics. To them this is normal." He tried, of course, to give her back. He contacted his superior officers, logged formal protests, even scheduled a translator session with the Chalari diplomatic liaison. The response was the same. "She is yours now by ancient right. To send her back would be an insult of interstellar proportions." "I didn't ask for this," he said to Varela the first night. "I did not expect to be given either," she replied evenly. "But now we are linked." "Linked by middle." Darren moved her into his quarters, what little space he had, and tried to keep things strictly professional. He gave her his bed while he slept in a hammock strung between a pipe and a locker. He didn't touch her, didn't look at her longer than necessary, and certainly didn't expect her to adapt so quickly. But adapt she did. Within a week, she'd figured out how to cook with a replicator, reroute power to his terminal when it glitched, and even modified his toolbox to make it more ergonomic. One night, she was waiting for him in the maintenance bay. "You use this hydro spanner wrong," she said. "Your grip is inefficient." "Thanks, I guess," he muttered, embarrassed. "You are not weak," she added, tilting her head. "But inefficient. That can be changed." A month passed. Then two. She followed him almost everywhere, not out of subservience, he realized, but because she was curious. The Chalari were a semi-matriarchal society. Varela was not a concubine, but a noblewoman trained in engineering, warfare, and diplomacy. In her culture, to be given was not servitude. It was a challenge. A test to see if this human male was worthy of someone like her. He found himself laughing more. They joked, argued about coolant ratios, debated power core designs. At some point he stopped sleeping in the hammock. Then, one night, he asked her a simple question while they shared a ration packet. "Did you ever think about going back?" Varela considered the question for a long moment. "I did," she said. "But now no. The bond has changed." Darren felt something unspoken hang between them. "You mean us?" She reached forward and touched his hand. "Yes." The crew teased him. "Course they did." "Watch out," Wex joked. "Next thing you know, she'll lay eggs." "She's not a lizard," Darren muttered. He didn't tell them the truth. They were already lovers. The intimacy hadn't come suddenly. It had grown like vines on an old wall, tangled, slow, inevitable. Their first kiss was awkward, more curious than romantic. Their second had him thinking about her constantly. When she finally invited him into her world, into her skin, her rituals, her thoughts, it was with reverence. The Chalari did not reproduce casually. Bonding was sacred, and according to their biology, rare and delicate. But it was possible, just complex. One night she whispered to him, "We may create life, but only if the stars approve." That had sounded poetic at the time. 6 weeks later, she collapsed in the corridor. Climax. Medical confirmed it. Virella was pregnant. And not just carrying a child. She was undergoing a full biological metamorphosis, as was typical for Chalari females during gestation. Her bones ached, her skin shifted hue daily, and her mind became flooded with instincts both ancient and terrifying. She screamed in her sleep. She hissed when anyone but Darren approached. She became possessive, emotional, and sometimes downright hostile. "I didn't mean to hurt Wex," she mumbled after nearly breaking his wrist. He moved too fast. "My instincts saw threat." The pregnancy was deemed high risk, not just because of the biology involved, but because no human Chalari hybrid had ever been born. The doctors didn't even know if it was possible. Yet every scan showed the fetus was developing rapidly. Human-like frame, blurry eyes, twin hearts, a new being. Rumors spread. The diplomatic channels lit up. Was this the first child of a new interspecies line? Would it be weaponized, worshipped, feared? The Chalari High Matron herself sent a message to Darren. "Your child will be honored. But remember, honor comes with burdens." Darren ignored all of it. His only focus was Virella. He held her through the pain, helped her breathe, carried her when her legs failed her. "You didn't ask for this," she whispered one night, eyes wet. "No," he replied. "But I chose to stay." Ending. The birth was violent and beautiful. Surrounded by sterile lights and an uneasy team of doctors, Virella roared through every contraction. Darren never left her side. Not when her skin cracked and bled bioluminescence. Not when her scream echoed through the station's reinforced walls. And then quiet. The baby was small but healthy. Violet-skinned with dark blue patterns. Human-shaped but alien-eyed. Daughter. They named her Alira. The Chalari sent emissaries to see her. Earth's UN Council dispatched ethics inspectors. News channels begged for interviews. Darren refused them all. "My daughter," he said to one particularly persistent journalist, "is not a symbol. She's a person. Back off." Years passed. Virella recovered, and her body settled into a new form. Slightly shorter, rounder features, a permanent pattern of swirling lines along her arms that denoted motherhood in Chalari tradition. Lyra grew quickly. She spoke both languages before the age of 3, could disassemble a plasma conduit by 5, and had already begun training in diplomatic etiquette by 6. Darren was still an engineer, still patching broken systems, but now with a child riding his shoulders and a mate who challenged him at every turn. They eventually moved to the Chalari homeworld, where humans were still seen as strange but increasingly respected. Their family became a quiet legend, not because of what they represented politically, but because they worked. They loved. They endured. One day Alira asked, "How did you and Mother meet?" Darren exchanged a look with Virella, who smirked knowingly. "It started as a joke," he said. "But it became everything," Virella finished.